call this meeting to order. This time I'd like to ask Lonnie to lead us in the invocation, please.
Lord, as we bow here, we just like to give you the praise and glory for all good things. As we travel through the city, Lord, there's a lot of workers out there, a lot of construction going on, a lot of activities. And we thank you for nobody being hurt, no accidents, everything going smoothly. We'd like to give you credit for that. Lord, as we continue through this meeting and other meetings this year, just watch over us, guide us, and give us direction. Amen.
Thank you, Lonnie. Would you all please rise for the pledge? And I'm going to ask Tom to lead us.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Tom, would you make a recommendation that we adopt the agenda?
I make a recommendation.
So be it. We have adopted the agenda. I do remind y'all this is a hearing without any binding consequences. I would now like to ask Tom if you would recommend that we approve the minutes from our last meeting of April 27th.
I recommend.
So done. So be it. We now have item of new business. This is a public hearing. The text amendment of the City of Jasper zoning ordinance section 94-96D1, and I'm going to call on Brandon Douglas at this time.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman and commission members, and for the public, we do not have anyone physically in attendance. However, this is a public hearing, and therefore this is a staff-driven initiative, whereby meaning that there was no application from an outside party. From time to time, there will be text amendments to the zoning ordinance, just because we try to be responsive to changes that are identified as something that needs to be changed. This particular one, there is a concept in the design standards of the zoning ordinance that speaks on fenestration of buildings. And basically what that means is windows, and there was a requirement of 35% along all building sides. Through the development department, speaking with different developers, and trying to be responsive to economic conditions of what the market is really, I guess, we won't be responsive to what the market demands are, and the demand is not necessarily to have windows on all sides, but predominantly the front as you enter the business. So ultimately, it does not prohibit any building or any property owner from doing whatever they want to do with regards to windows. But what we're saying is, from a regulatory perspective, we are recommending to essentially strike the all sides and just make a requirement that on the front, at least 35% of the front facade have fenestration, and that's it. It does not preclude them from doing what they want to do on the other sides. It just does not mandate it as such. Even though we've got it identified as number 2, part of the public hearing is an advertisement of the text amendments. So I do want to just point out that in the zoning ordinance, there are designated zoning districts. There is the central business district that you may recall we had incorporated a permitted use for a brewery. What we've identified now is there's an interest in something called a wine specialty shop, whereupon there's many examples throughout the area where in downtowns you have a retail establishment that sells bottles of wine. They'll sell other assortments of kind of not home goods, but kind of local Georgia produced or regionally produced jams, jellies, etc. And some craft beers on tap, and then some wine by the drink, wine sampling. So what this is staff looking at the zoning ordinance, because from a land use perspective, you look at your different areas, C2, C1, Central Business District, and you say, what are you wanting to do is encourage the economic development of your main street, your downtown, and this particular use is not identified in the zoning ordinance. So what the text amendment allows is for the definition to be put of a wine specialty shop in the actual zoning ordinance, and then it's allowed as a use by right, a permitted use. So if and when we are approached for a venture in downtown, similar to like the brewery, we can say, yes, that is a permitted use, and it just clears up any sort of uncertainty or ambiguity about not being specifically permitted by use.
Gotcha. And it is my understanding that following the staff analysis, that y'all do, the staff does recommend approval of these text amendments. That's correct?
Correct.
Lonnie, did you have something you wanted to add to this?
The only thing that I can add would be, I have talked to a few different builders that build these type buildings, and each and every one of them, the penetration has been an issue. They've all had the same issue. And I did take an evening and drove to Cobb, Cherokee, and Forsyth counties and looked at different areas that had these type buildings. And I did not find one single building that had windows on all four sides. So, other than that, that's the reason staff has approved, along with the information that Brandon's given.
Thank you, Lonnie. And let me take a moment to recognize Joanna for being with us. So, thank you. We do have a quorum now at this time. Board, we've heard the recommendation of the staff. Do I hear a motion either to approve or disapprove their recommendation? Have a motion. Tom, do we have a second?
I second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Passed. We have offered our approval for these text amendments. Anything else to be brought before the board at this time?
That's all.
If not, may I entertain a motion to adjourn?
I motion.
I have that motion. I have a second. We are in adjournment. Thank you.